So should be live. Sorry I didn't end up streaming last week. I was sick, and I technically am still sick, but I decided I didn't want to delay it 2 weeks, and I've already delayed this stream 1 week, which is not ideal. At this point, maybe I should have streamed last week, but whatever. So if my voice sounds off, that is why. I don't know if I got sick at the event or if I got sick like at work, but we're just gonna push through because I really want to get this footage out and go over the footage, but while it's still relatively fresh in my mind, and so I can start working on that video. I brought Bigfoot and Skunk Ape to the event down in southeast Missouri, down in Doniphan. I was there last year with Hodag and Jackalope, but this time I decided to bring Bigfoot, Jackalope, since those are kind of my main bots. Although Bigfoot, I didn't put much effort into like making revisions to Bigfoot. Most of the revisions I made were to the front. I have like these metal forks here. Basically, these are the metal forks from the previous version that I attached to the new front of Bigfoot. And I also have these TPU ones, which are supposed to be a little bit better because I find that TPU forks are better at not getting stuck into the floor. Other than that, over the off season, I basically just sort of kept it disassembled and then made sure it was assembled and working right before the event. And we're going to go over Bigfoot first. I'll actually go over the changes to Hodag right before I talk about Hodag. But we're going to go over Bigfoot first because Bigfoot is just because it'll make more sense, but it just makes sense. Our first fight, so I should note that it was double elimination for this tournament. So we basically go until we lose twice or everyone else has lost twice. And our first fight was against Irregular Entropy. I didn't know much about Irregular Entropy. It is a two-wheel drive horizontal spinner. I felt pretty confident going into this fight because Bigfoot typically does pretty well against horizontals, and this is not one of the scarier ones. So let's just get into that. Let me know how the audio level is for you guys. I should note that this copy of Bigfoot was not driving as straight as I wanted it to. So that's why I'm kind of hesitant a lot of the times because I'm not driving as straight as I want to. He does get the tip of the flipper.
A piece of wood taken out of our arena. Irregular Entropy showing no signs of slowing though, as he almost gets a pin and sits on top of Bigfoot like a hat. 3, and gets tossed off by Bigfoot in that same sentence. Irregular Entropy just needs to take a moment to gather its bearings after any sort of attack or quick driving motion like that. Shattering that wood into our impact place here. Bigfoot almost getting that pin, but Irregular Entropy trying to wiggle its way out. 1, 2, 3, 4.
A good solid pin. I did increase the audio.
Bigfoot looking like it's having trouble getting that flipper to get any leverage as we've got 42 seconds left in this match. And another pin out of nope, not quite. Irregular Entropy escaping.
His weapon does go down.
But it might be having some issues. Might have overheated an ESC or something. Now might be Bigfoot's time to strike. If it can get some pins or get some flips, that'll be big points with the judges. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and release. Trying to get a little flip out of that servo. Not quite moving it too much. But we have 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that is it. We are done. This one will go to the judges.
Okay, so first off, thanks for showing up, Jupiter Robotics. I believe I've heard of your YouTube channel here on YouTube. I believe you stream also, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think I've tuned in, but I've definitely heard about you. But yeah, that fight, I think I did most of what I could do. I think that copy of Bigfoot not driving as straight as I want it to definitely kind of hurt me a little bit. I was not able to get nearly as many pins as I would normally get. Although he definitely did more damage to the arena than he did to me. I think there was like one gash in the front, and he did hit the shoulder bolt that holds the wedge on in a way that it made it basically impossible to get up, or really annoying to get off. It made it impossible for me to just use the hex to get it out, at least. The judge's decision ended up not going my way, which I think is suspicious, and because his weapon went down and I kind of controlled most of that fight. I think the flipper damage, I think they registered the damage to my flipper a little bit more than I would have because it's just the tip. I should note that I was really dumb when I assembled Bigfoot for this event. So it's really, the electronics inside Bigfoot are really tight. And if there's too much stuff underneath the flipper can't go down all the way. And I forgot how I arranged it last time. So I realized like the night after when I was laying in bed that I packed in the electronics incorrectly into Bigfoot. 1 second. I just had Bigfoot. Oh, there it is. Basically what I did wrong is this is where the battery goes. Normally, I think when I first did it, I had the battery just there. But I started tucking in the ESC right beside it. And instead I had the ESC in the middle right here. And so it was in the way of the flipper. And so the flipper was not going all the way down, which I think was the reason he was able to get the tip of it, which is kind of embarrassing that it's a really dumb way to end up losing the tip of the flipper. I think a big reason I ended up forgetting that is because of the last event of the season. I was running Skunk Ape, and it's been like 3 months since I had it fully assembled. And I think it was down far enough most of the time, but it is what it is. It's kind of, I think I need to write down or take a picture or something, or to because I just assume most of the time that I know how to build my own robots, because I'm like, of course I know how to build my own robots and pack everything in there correctly. But then it's like, apparently I don't. So maybe I need to write that down. And maybe that's something, I guess, for you guys to remember, that you may think you remember how to build your own robots, but apparently sometimes it's very specific. But yeah, it did actually, if I remember correctly, irregular entropy. It did. I do think I got the bad end of that fight. I think I probably should have won that judge's decision, but it did win 2 more fights. So it's not a bad bot. But yeah, I definitely, that was rough. Or it won, sorry. Now I'm trying to look at, it won 1 more fight. Sorry. I guess it didn't win that many more fights, but it won another fight after that. But yeah, I think I kind of see where the judges went wrong, or I think I can see how the judges ended up having him win it, because if you look at if they count my flipper as being down because it is damaged, and after it took that damage I'm not entirely sure why none of my flips were as, I guess, flippy as it normally is. So I guess they didn't really count my flipper as working since I wasn't able to get any good flips in there, and I didn't get nearly as many pins as normal, even though his weapon did go down. I think I still should have barely won it, but it definitely was not like it definitely was not as one-sided as I originally thought. But so that's not great, starting the day with a losing fight. So we're into the losers bracket, which has us going against Ground Shaker. I forgot what Ground Shaker was. I don't know why. It's not been that long. Okay, sorry. I think I was so focused on Hodag that day that actually I didn't use the metal forks that event. I think I was worried about getting stuck in the floor. I think, okay, we'll get into this. So Ground Shaker is a 2-wheel drive beater bar. It looks like it uses a FingerTech beater bar. It kind of looks like the Palm Beaches FingerTech beater bar kit. Going into this one, I used the same. Okay, here's what I did. I actually had to, between these two fights, the drive went completely down on one side the drive went completely down on one side of Bigfoot, like between, like just working on it. Like I test drove it and it wasn't spinning. Our one drive side wasn't spinning. So I had to swap the drive side, cause I had like a half built chassis, and ironically that chassis actually drove a lot straighter than the first one, which makes me feel really silly that I was going in with a not straight driving chassis. But because I didn't have enough time, because I was doing a bunch of repairs on Hodag, I couldn't get that one bolt out. So going into this fight, one side is the wedge and the one side is the fork. I didn't use metal forks going into this one because the metal forks that I use are so thin that I noticed that when I fight beater bars or drums, they get bent up really quick. So these forks specifically, I don't really like using. These specific metal forks, I don't trust against beater bars and stuff.
Bigfoot in the red square.
I'll show what it looks like after this.
Plainfield, Illinois. Judges, are you ready? Crowd, are you ready? I like it.
They do a long intro in a lot of these, so there's going to be a lot of extra footage at the front.
2, 1, fight, robots, fight.
Oh, missed the box stretch. So it's a lot flippier in this fight. I'm not sure why it wasn't in the last fight, because it's literally the same motor. He doesn't seem to be very functional, and so I decided to be very nice. Because
We're just gonna let the clock stand down. He looks like Bigfoot's giving him the benefit of the doubt. Gets a couple flips in there as he maintains that. Goes to count towards those ultimate points. If he can wear it as a hat, flip him.
yeah, I'm not sure why the flipper was not as effective in the last fight as it is here.
Flip him over. There you
Good
go.
flip there.
Hey, we got him. All right, it worked. Yeah. Well, that was the most exciting thing ever. Uh-oh, he's stuck on the wall, but he's back off now. But again, I think I'm counting. How many is counting? It is definitely slipped and not on the gear, so the motor is not going to engage like it should. So this is just a meat match. I think I'm counting 5, maybe 6 total flips. 7. Looking good for Bigfoot. 45 seconds still in the
I'm making sure I'm using my flipper. That way I can get those aggression points and stuff.
Bigfoot is worn. Oh, yeah, he does a little crush thing right there. Unless something weird happens, they can stay in the match here. Unless something weird, like the thing happens or something. Uh-oh. He's going to try again. No, he's going. He's going. Brings him to the middle of the arena.
Since I know sometimes my flipper can get stuck, I'm kind of being prudent as the match goes on.
We called it. No, he fell off. That is fantastic. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. This one will go the distance to the judges.
Okay. But yeah, this is what the metal forks look like. They're actually super thin, like compared to my finger. It's pretty thin. And I've fought drums before that have beat them. Yes, I am aware of the irony of not bringing Ozark Howler to a event that is in near the Ozarks. I don't know where the Ozarks start and finish, but I realized driving down, I'm like, oh, the Ozarks. That was a pretty solid fight for us. He wasn't really fully functional and all, so which obviously was a huge. He wasn't very operational, which was hugely in our favor. I kept it going, trying to give him a chance, because it is kind of rough to go 2 and not even be able to really fight much in the last one. That is some of the flippiest flips we've gotten out of Bigfoot. We got some pretty good distance on a lot of them. I think part of it is because of his chassis being further from the ground. The flipper is able to like accelerate a bit before it hits him, so he's able to go flying. But overall, I feel pretty good about that one. Bigfoot's doing exactly what it's meant to do. But we're still in it. But yeah, the forks that I use on Bigfoot aren't super optimized, but I've been using them for a while and I have a bunch of them. So it was a low-cost solution to the problem of not having metal forks. Our next fight is Up Gravity. Up Gravity is a Viper kit. It's a 2-wheel drive lifter, so it's the lifter version of the Viper kit. I'm not too worried about it because from what I saw, it has basically 0 ground game. So as long as we can keep our front facing him, we should win every exchange. Okay. Sorry, I gotta switch cameras. Okay.
All right, here we go. This is the battle of two lifting bots. Let's see what we can do. How many flips? I need you guys to count each flip, okay? Judges, are you ready? Competitors, red, blue, it's going. In 3, 2, 1. Fight, robots, fight. All right. Trying to get that under there. It looks like Bigfoot's got a little bit of the ground game winning this year. If he can actually use the flipper. He hasn't actually made a flip. It looks like that flip came from Up Gravity himself. What a way to get out of a pin. Oh, that was a solid throw there by Bigfoot. If he can get him on top of him right there. This looks really good. This is a pretty good match for flippers. Plenty of flips going on. Oh, caught between the downside of the flip. That will get you in trouble if you get your arm stuck. All right, doing good. Looks like Up Gravity just trying to control the match.
He does seem to be using his flip. He seems to be using his lifter more to get out of my pins than he is to actually flip me.
All right, still plenty of action here.
He doesn't have very many options against me because I'm faster than him, so I can get around him, and he can't get around me. Front-to-front exchanges always go my way.
Flipper from Up Gravity, even when he's on top of Bigfoot, it looks like he's still able to throw himself off just by the actual flip force from Up Gravity there. Uh-oh, here he goes, trying to get Bigfoot, more control of the match. Still 35 seconds. So can Bigfoot throw him again? I think we had one good airtime here from Bigfoot. Looking at this closely here, both parts still seem to be
Again, these are actually pretty good flips. I'm getting a lot more distance and height than I normally do.
Up gravity able to roll off the top. Another chance by Bigfoot, but Up Gravity was able to just roll kind of forward. 13 seconds remaining. We're going to start the countdown in 10, 9,
Oh,
8,
I think our lifter is stuck here.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That is your match. Let's get both competitors a big round of applause.
So other than the lifter getting stuck in the upward position right at the end there, that fight pretty much went exactly how we wanted it to go. Again, with our ground game, pretty much beating him in every angle. There's not much he could do because a lifter that can't get underneath the opponent can't do anything. We unsurprisingly won that judge's decision. And we move on to the next fight. And that next fight is against Pablo Escobedo. And that next fight is against Pablo Escobedo. Pablo Escobedo is a four-wheel drive beater bar. I've fought it with Jackalope, and it didn't go super well for Jackalope. I've fought it before with Skunk Ape, and it didn't go very well for Skunk Ape. I've also fought the plastic version, Pablo Escobar, with Jackalope, and that went even worse. So I'm not feeling great about this, although I feel that... But Pablo Escobar was having a pretty rough day, so maybe I can... So I know it's not at it... Pablo Escobar was having a rough day, so I know it's not at its 100%. And I think it's possible that Bigfoot might be able to eke out a win, because I think Bigfoot is a little bit more dialed in than Skunk Ape was when he fought it, or when I fought it with Skunk Ape. Okay. Okay. Gotta get this up. Oop. Sorry. Okay. I actually didn't catch its fight against Ampere before my fight, but because it sounded like it was really rough for him.
How about our audience? You ready out there?
Heck yeah!
And our judges. Then let's start our countdown in 3, 2.
We're in the big arena this time.
Fight, robots, fight. Pablo Escobedo ready for full speed here. Bigfoot trying to work his way in and get a side of the basket that ball. Not too deep.
Clear that going front to front is not going to work. Although he's not as mobile as normal.
Almost not quite executing a clean win there. He's getting tossed in the air time after time. But man, these slipper bots are pretty durable. You really got to knock him senseless to do any sort of damage there.
You didn't need that screw, did you?
Slight crack in that back corner.
There we go. Almost able to get underneath him.
Really hard on the
Trying to take advantage of that missing wedgelet. Oh no, that's not good. I lost connection. I'll talk about this. Yeah. Unless it comes back.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That is it.
Yeah, well, oh, sorry. I accidentally started it again. Yeah, that was rough. It started out pretty rough for us. Then his wedgelet came off, and then we were able to actually start getting underneath him a little bit. It's starting to look better. But then we turned off at the end. When I inspected it at the event, I noticed that it was still beeping, so there was power actually going to the ESC for the weapon motor, but the receiver was not lit up. So something was going wrong. It's either the receiver went bad or the receiver wasn't receiving power for some reason. So maybe that wire going to the receiver wasn't plugged in all the way, because I do just sort of plug them in and then tape it. Or maybe I'll have to check the soldering connections. But I think what's annoying is I think I observed that before and I wasn't going to use this copy, but I switched copies for whatever reason. Because I kind of went back and forth with each copy kind of having different little weird issues throughout the day. Overall, that's not a great way to end the day. It's kind of an interesting day overall for Bigfoot. Its 2 fights were against robots that weren't very good, and its one loss was a sketchy, or one loss was a dubious judge's decision, and the other loss was turning off for no reason. Because maybe it's possible we could have came back from that, but not a great way to end the day. But maybe Hodag did better. I mean, I know some of you already know how Hodag did, but I don't want to spoil it for the rest of you guys. Going into this event, I actually made a lot more changes to Hodag than I did with Bigfoot. I changed how the front was mounted, where I basically have a through bolt, so the front can't bend much. I changed the front configuration so that hopefully I have a bit more, I can get a little bit closer to the opponent. I got new forks that should work a little bit better, and they also have hooks on them. And I'm trying to think if I changed anything else. One of my copies does have an asymmetric a blade, so that should help me get bite on my opponents. I should note, do I have a picture? I don't. Oh yeah, I do have a picture. Going fight, or this event, sorry. I did have a Hodag, so I have a red version of the robot with these. I also have this new TPU front. That way I have a TPU forked version. Because they have a warmest bot competition, so basically whoever ends up getting the most donations ends up getting like a prize at the end. I didn't end up winning, but I had the idea to basically just print it out red and put a hat on it, literally for the pun. But a consequence of this, because this will be relevant for our first fight, a consequence of having a copy dedicated to being like for display, I only had one copy to get ready for the first fight. And luckily, I was thinking, okay, most of the bots are like either control bots or vertical spinners, so I'll have that configuration ready on that bot. And if it's a wedge, like if I need my wedge, it might be a problem, but there's only one horizontal. So what's the odds that I am A, the first fight, and B, have to fight the one horizontal at that event? Apparently too high. So my other copy of Hodag, and for I guess reasons, when I changed the front of Hodag, I made it a lot harder to switch configurations. And so I have to go, so I couldn't change to the wedge to go against a horizontal. And my first fight is against Grand Slam, which is a 2-wheeled horizontal. And since I couldn't change configurations in time, since I was the first fight of the day, I decided to grab Hodag, since I decided TPU forks would be better than metal ones, because I figured the metal forks would get chewed up too much. So I decided to grab Hodag off the table, and Hodag had to go into the arena. And let's see if the thin TPU front is going to be enough. As far as I know, is Hodag a thing? I don't know about any ho. Sorry, oh shit, I spoiled it. You weren't supposed to see that. Pretend you forget you saw anything. Okay. Let's see how this went.
Starting with our bot in the blue square, we have the return of Hodag. That's where you cheer. You guys still want to see this, right? You can call the whole event off right now if you'd rather. And in the red box,
I forgot to mention that Grand Slam's also one of the scariest horizontals in the Beetle 8 class.
That's more like it.
Like in the Midwest.
Let's see, Hodag, are you ready to go? Yep. Push your button. Grand Slam.
That was going on for a while.
Button pressed. Judges, are you ready to go? And let's start our countdown. 3, 2, 1. Fight, robots, fight. And our 2-minute timer starts as both of these weapons roll alive. Big impacts. Huge amounts of energy in that horizontal spinner on Grand Slam going for the bottom of the
Not a great
there.
start.
That tends to be a vulnerable point on a lot of bots. Oh, there goes a belt.
We lose a drive belt.
Hodag's drive not looking too good right there. Oh no, more chunks taken out of Hodag. Grand Slam looking to put it to rest now. Oh, that entire side of its weapon assembly is all janked out of shape there. Big impacts. Oh! These forks coming off of Hodag too. Grand Slam running up again. Into the wall.
There goes one of the shafts for the linear slide. Apparently I didn't do a very good job of recording this. That's my bad. Oh yeah, we got stuck in the side. He goes in for a hit.
Pushing it further in. Going for an impact. Oh, kicking it loose. Hodag having some trouble.
Oh.
Found another way to get stuck, apparently.
Oh, I should have checked this footage before.
Pulls that wheel and that motor out of the side of the bot. And that is a tap from Hodag.
So,
Congratulations to your winner, Greg.
so yeah, if we stop it right there, I tapped out because the wheel, as you can see, is now coming out the top of the robot and is parallel with the floor. Basically, I was stuck into the wall, and he ended up hitting the backside. I think when I do the edit, I'm definitely going to have to take it from the stream or something. But yeah, that was a rough one. The front basically did nothing to stop his weapon. He basically went up over the top, and in the first exchange, he ended up taking out the weapon assembly. That hub motor is completely cooked and done for, and it was pretty much all downhill from there. He ended up cutting through the sides into the drive. That's actually one of the first time I've completely lost one of the drive axles for the front wheel. And when I got stuck in the wall, he basically just took out that drive motor. I probably should have tapped out since I was losing anyways, and maybe I would have saved myself some money. But, I mean, I thought maybe I could survive. I think I didn't realize how much infill I had on the sides of the robot, because I noticed that like after those hits, I'm like, why do I have such low infill? Because I should note that Hodag is very underweight right now. So I think going into the next event, when I reprint the sides, because this one got torn up and the other one will get torn up, spoiler alert. And so I think I'll reprint them at 100% infill, because I think we're still ways underweight. I'm going to show you guys some of the pictures before we move on. You are correct. That's because when I changed scenes. Sorry, the mic was not on. That's because when I changed scenes, I guess it turned off. Or I didn't have it on for this one. So yeah, that motor, we have a failed layer line on that wheel. That shaft is bent. He dug right into the back of the robot there. That hub motor is completely cooked. It's not supposed to look like that. I took this picture, how it started, how it's going. So, actually, that's just the weight of the... But yeah, this is what I mean. This is a pretty low infill, and I think I might want to change that. So overall, not a good start to the day. So overall, not a good start to the day. I think that would have went very differently had I had been able to configure Hodag properly. Although it's hard to say because Grand Slam hits like a freight train. But hopefully we can dig ourselves out of the loser's bracket. Our next fight is against Relax-A-Bit. I fought Relax-A-Bit last year at this same event, Winter Wars. I actually never said that at the top of the stream. We're at Winter Wars. But yeah, I fought Relax-A-Bit at the last Winter Wars. It's a four-wheel drive. It was a four-wheel drive drill last year. For this event, it's a four-wheel drive hammer saw. Although he told me going into this fight that the hammer saw wasn't working. So we should have a pretty good advantage in this fight if his weapon isn't even working. And last time we fought him, we already beat him pretty handedly. And so with all the upgrades and stuff, we should be favored in this fight. Well, I need to actually show you guys the video. I need some water. Oh, he might have had a drill copy. I don't know if he got he didn't get the chance to use it against me at least. I said hammer saw mostly because that's what I was fighting.
Where's the love for anybody?
Yeah, the crowd was not very excited whenever they were like trying to do it.
Audience, are we ready for destruction?
It was a tough crowd.
Here we go. Then let's start our countdown. 3, 2, 1. Fight, robots fight. Hodag immediately spinning up the speed there, getting that punch into the front of that TPU. Relax-A-Bit. Some of you probably saw Relax-A-Bit with a drill earlier. That's because this gun has multiple configurations. He switches out between this sort of saw-looking blade and a drill, depending on his opponent. Hodag taking it to the back.
So we're taking it nice and slow, nice and easy, since I know he's not spinning. I don't want to get... I'm also still worried about getting stuck in the wall. It's been a little worried.
Hodag looks like he's putting the shoving matches in these competitions here. Bring it back again.
So yeah, we're just sort of taking our time, getting underneath him, pushing him around. Trying to do a little bit of damage. So at this point, I'm going to let him get counted out.
8, 7, 6,
Because there's no real sense in doing more damage to him.
2, 1, and that is it. We are done.
Oh, no. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Wait. Okay. Sorry. My left monitor, my one monitor went dark, and I was really scared for a second. Okay, back to it. So overall, that was a pretty easy fight. I had a lot. You could see I had a lot of hesitation in my driving. I'm surprised that for a hammer saw, he doesn't have more ground game to try to control, but we pretty much had complete control over the fight. Our punches weren't super hard hitting, but we definitely grinded up on the bottom of his robot a lot. And I wasn't really too worried at any point. But overall, good to finally get a win. So we are 1-1, and we continue fighting. Honestly, that went even better than the last time we fought him. Because the last time we fought him, he actually was able to, his drill was working, was able to actually do a little bit of damage. But this time his weapon wasn't spinning at all, and we ended up not taking any damage. Our next fight is against Ibuprofen, which is a 4-wheel drive vert. I saw its fight against Who's Earl right before it, and it was a slugfest, so I am quite worried about this one. I should mention that for this fight, this was the first fight of the day where they had the housebot working, which is I believe, 42-pound robot meant to unstick some of the beetles. Sorry. And so this should be a pretty interesting fight. I know that Ibuprofen is a good robot, but we'll see how scary it is, I guess. Hello, King Pie Games. I don't believe I've seen you in a while. It's been a while. Oh, there we go. Oh. Okay, so we got to go to the desktop screen. Okay. I did not do a very good job of recording a lot of these fights. I'm going to have to pull some fights from the stream.
Live stream, I hope you're watching. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1, fight, robot, fight.
Not a good start. He got a good hit on our bottom. Real tentative, both of us. Ooh, he gets a pop on us. He stops moving. I decided to keep engaging because I don't know if he's going to turn on. I back off.
Oh no.
Maybe he's going to turn. And he turns back on. Maybe I shouldn't have spun down. Ooh. He takes out my drive belt.
I don't know what it was either. I think it was my belt.
Yeah, he took out my drive belt. I hit something on him. Able to get a pin right here. Very terrifying situation. Luckily, we don't use our front wheels too much, so even without the drive belt, we can drive pretty well. He loses a fork. I think I might have hit that at some point. We're upside down. Self-right, just in time. Able to get some hits. Maybe able to get his backside. We slam him into the house spot, which takes his weapon down, and we're just tearing up his bottom.
Holy shit. Oh, that was a good one. That was wonderful.
Oh God. Yeah, what's funny is you say that's the biggest hit, but the main reason he went so high was because his weapon hit the house bot. That was an absolute slugfest. I think if I would have stopped engaging the moment I realized his robot wasn't working, he might have gotten counted out. But it's hard to say. We took a ton of damage in that fight. But his weapon did go down, and I think and we did get some good hits, and we were sort of had the better end of part of it. And so we did actually end up winning that judge's decision. I feel pretty good about that fight. I don't see how I could have driven that much better. I'm also can see that these new metal forks are working pretty well. I know SEMO's kick plates in previous events, they've been really easy to get stuck under. And so me being able to drive into the wall and not get stuck is actually a really good sign for these forks. But that was a slugfest. I'll show you guys some pictures. I keep spoiling by accident. That's actually not the right picture. That's just a picture of me. I was measuring some stuff. Yeah. Oh, oh no, this is where he broke the shaft there where the drive was. That wasn't the other one. Oh yeah, that was Roughhouse Robotics that gave me the advice to add the hook, and it did prevent me from getting stuck in the wall. This wheel, it actually did the thing that the wheel did in the Grand Slam fight where it came undone, but I actually just I super glued it back together. I forgot to mention I won that judge's decision, but we'll get back to that. What am I taking a picture of here? Oh, these forks are chewed up. The front ends, I think part of it, because it's so much thinner, ended up doing, yeah, there we go. Took a actual in focus picture. That got torn out. I think I'll go into that when I go into changes later, but yeah, he did. That was pretty early on. I was real worried when he got a hit to that bottom. That scared the crap out of me. We don't want to show any more pictures because we already spoiled it. Luckily the people watching the final one. But yeah, we took a ton of damage. We actually won that judge's decision, which kind of makes sense after his weapon went down, because I think the blows were kind of even against each other, but his weapon going down and Hodag staying fully functional, is why we ended up on top. Him also turning off is not a good look for the judges. Losing the fork is a little bit of damage, but I think it was really the weapon. And we kept all our forks. And it's pretty obvious that the front wheels on Hodag don't do much, considering we lost that drive belt and then it didn't change the drive at all. Overall, I think we learned a lot about Hodag in that fight, and it shows that it can brawl with the best of them. And actually, after this fight, I took so much damage, and since I didn't have a second copy like I normally did, because as I only brought one hub motor, and you already saw what happened to that hub motor, so I only had one copy, and this was actually the first event where I had to use a postponement in order to stay in the event. And I had to postpone my fight against my next opponent, which is actually Grand Slam. That name should sound familiar because that was my first fight of the day, and they are the reason I'm in the losers bracket currently. But a notable change from this fight and the last time, I had enough time to actually put a wedge on a Hodag, so maybe that wedge will make all the difference. We'll see. Either way, I am quite scared because I know how hard that robot hits. Oh my God. Please. There we go. Okay.
Ready?
Let's spin. Hodag, are you ready?
Yep.
Grand Slam, are you ready?
I don't know if you can tell, but the one wheel is like tilted.
I guess I lied. It was punching for a bit, but if it goes out, it's probably the pinion gear.
3, 2, 1, fight, robots, fight.
I did forget to mention that the punch was intermittent when I was getting it ready for this fight. And I kind of just rolled with it. Wedge is working pretty well. Nice pop. Ooh, his wheel guard's stuck. You can notice that the...
Considering the shape of my weapon, I won't knock you down.
9,
Oh, that is...
7, no.
I'm so sorry.
3.
I do notice that his weapon is not spinning. I didn't really think about that before. Oh.
Too late now.
I let him down after the fight ended. So I will say we definitely got lucky on that one. It seemed like his weapon stopped spinning due to some sort of issue. Because I think if it was spinning, it would have been just enough to get him off there. Him getting stuck there is super lucky on our part. You will notice that the shaft for the linear punch, you will notice that the linear shaft for the punching mechanism was no longer seated. So it's pretty clear that the through bolts that I was using before did not work to fix that issue, the issue that I had against Herbert. So, sorry, I think I know what the problem is. So when I make the holes that the linear shafts go into, I think I made the hole too deep because I wanted a little bit of room so it like isn't like completely tight. And I think I just need to tighten the tolerances for those holes, and maybe that'll happen a little bit less. I'll have to end up taking a look at the CAD. My next stream that I have planned for the channel, I'm going to be working on Hodag, and specifically because I have a lot of small things I want to make, and I still have to work on that vert configuration thing. But overall, I'm really happy about that. The wedge did a lot of the work there. It held up great. And sorry, what was I saying? I forgot what I was saying. And we did get lucky. It did last long enough for us to get lucky. But I do think it's kind of funny that both fights against Grand Slam, both of us sort of won through a bit of luck. Because he was lucky in the fact I wasn't able to put my wedge on, and I was lucky in the fact he got stuck. But I guess give and take. I was really scared going to that fight, so winning is a huge deal. Which brings us into our next fight. Actually, I should note that fight put us into the top 3 and puts us against our next opponent, Who's Earl. Who's Earl is a 4-wheel drive beater bar. It's made by the same driver of Herbert, who we fought twice already and lost both times. This is Who's Earl's first event, and it did pretty well considering it's now in the top 3. And its only loss so far today was against Pipeline Punch. So I'm quite scared going into this, and I'm basically assuming that I'm going to lose. Considering the fact that my punching mechanism wasn't really working going into the last fight because of the repeat compacts having that pinion gear issue, and I didn't feel like taking the bot completely apart to fix it in between the fights. So I just rolled with it, especially because I don't have a postponement. So I'd rather have an iffy punching mechanism than not be ready for the next fight. So this is going to be a close one. We got like a weird drive where one wheel is all held together with super glue and askew. The punching mechanism has a bad pinion gear. We have no second copy, and we're just hanging on for dear life. It is. Sorry, I didn't even get the video up. It could be the CAD software, because CAD software does take up a lot of.
Are you ready?
Because CAD software does take up a lot of the RAM and like graphics stuff. So that could be it. But and also maybe it also might affect the internet connection possibly because it does have to get the license from the internet, or maybe it's just the day of the week. Who's to say? But let's get into this. This will be a good one.
Blue square, are you ready? Judges, are you ready?
Fucking kid playing with
to head to Wisconsin for the finals. In 3,
I don't know if that's true.
1, fight, Robot.
Not a good start. He ends up upside down longer than us somehow. He does have a drive side go down. Ooh.
Why did I do that?
I have to be careful. So we have to really pick our shots. Even though his drive is down, that weapon hits hard. Gotta be.
Looks like Earl is trying to show control movement. And he can almost got the punch there.
Don't want to get stuck.
Can you get it? Can you get it?
Just gotta be so careful. Ooh, took a little bit of material away. Oh, our event. I just realized the weapon assembly is falling apart. Oh,
I guess I won't punch anymore.
that was the rack from the punching mechanism. I guess I didn't. I for some reason was only using 2 screws when I should have been using 3. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh.
Hodag just barely touched that. 4, 3, 2, 1. That is
Oh.
the match. If you guys could drive over to.
That was That fight was nerve-wracking because even when his drive went down, that weapon hit so hard I was afraid of it. We did actually win that judge's decision because we sort of were able to control and push him around, and his drive going down helped us obviously with damage points, and our weapon and drive was still functional at the end. Our weapon assembly did take some damage. Honestly, going into the last fight, because sorry. This might spoil a little bit, but oh, got it. This is less assembled than I thought. A problem I have with the weapon assembly is there's not enough material between this and the outside part where the screw goes in to there, because there's that spacer on top to like hold it together. And there's not enough material between where that screw goes in and like where it ends up landing. And so I think in future, I think I've actually changed it in CAD. I just never ordered parts yet, where there's a little bit more material behind it so it won't break like that. And since we're going into the final, since we just made top 2 because we won that judge's decision, we're going against Pipeline Punch. And I kind of don't expect to really win against Pipeline Punch. So I ended up deciding to, what am I trying to say? Just not bother with that top shoulder bolt to like hold it together, because I'm like, it usually holds together without it, so I should be fine without that spacer on top. at least long enough to make it through the last fight, because otherwise I have to take the whole robot apart. Otherwise I'd have to take the back of the robot apart. I'd have to disassemble the whole weapon assembly in order to get that attached, which is a not trivial task in order to take apart that weapon assembly. And I don't have a second copy, so I just decided to run with it going into that fight. And I guess I didn't do so. Now we are going into the finals fight, which is against Pipeline Punch. Pipeline Punch is a four-wheel drive vertical spinner. It is the two-time MRCA champ. It has won a lot of events and is incredibly terrifying. It hasn't lost all day, and this is actually my first time fighting it, despite me fighting a lot of knockoffs of Pipeline Punch, including Ian's own knockoff of it, where his own kit version that he created. And I'm not expecting to win this fight, but I'm just happy to have made it this far. If I do win this fight, however, there will be another fight because of how double elimination works. So if I lose, the event is over. And if I win, we have to fight one more time. Similar to what happened at the last SEMO event that I went to in St. Charles. Okay, let's get this fight up. Oh, I didn't realize that you actually got to fight. It was right before the Amway Finals, me driving Davi against. Oh, cool. I missed it. I was probably too busy. I guess, or maybe I left. I think I did leave. Because I left. I left shortly after they took all the pictures for Beatles, because I was really hungry and just wanted to be out of there. So I don't even think I watched the Ant Finals. Normally I wait till the end, but I was just like, I'm tired. I'm done. This was a long day. I had the most fights of the Beatles. Okay. Okay. I'll activate that. And I don't want to spoil it and say it's last fight, but come on.
Where you got? Where y'all getting steak from? Oh.
Oh, yeah, they're like, we're getting steaks. I'm like, where are you getting steaks at?
Oh, the button.
Oh, yeah, I broke the button. Okay. That's kind of how my day has been going. He's able to push us around. He's only kind of able to get on. Oh, drive side is not working. I'm not. Ooh, not good. Oh, so we're able to drive straight there. I'm not sure it happened before. Oh my God. He's stuck. I assume he's not fully stuck, so I decided to try to get a free hit in. Oh, there's one of my linear shafts. I did not move the cursor for the thing. Ooh, we are dancing. I did a terrible job of recording all of these fights.
Oh, not so great. Oh.
Ooh! There's a certain point in the fight where I just decided I wanted to last the full 2 minutes. I knew I wasn't going to win. Oh my God, I keep getting so many hits. Oh. Jesus. Ooh. push back a little bit.
I should not spin that up.
Oh God.
Oh my.
I'm. Unsurprisingly, we lost that judge's decision. Although I'm glad I was able to make the full 2 minutes. Whenever we locked forks, he was basically able to like we were sort of. He was basically able to push us back. He was able to get like the baleen on the front was enough to stop the forks, but I think he has stronger motors at a certain point, and I think my drive might have been compromised by that time of the day. Is this motor dead? Oh, I didn't realize. I need to take a look at that later, but yeah. So we got pretty beat up during that one. You can also see how beat up this is. This also shows how little material. I need to put more material here. That was an insane fight. I think, scratched him that whole fight, but I think it could have gone worse, I guess. Not too bad for being against the two-time MRCA champ. You mentioned I can't wait for Pipeline Punch to go to NHL. I feel the same way. I think this year, talking to Ian, it really seems like he's itching to get that golden dumpster this year, and so I think that is where his mind is at right now. The only robot he brought to that event was Pipeline Punch, and he's not like working on a bunch of little side bots. I don't know when he is going to NHL this year. I'll have to ask him, but I think he can end up actually getting a golden dumpster. I definitely want to see it. If he doesn't get a golden dumpster, I think he's at least going to qualify for NHL finals. April would be interesting because that's when I'm planning on going. But back to Hodag. Overall, I feel really good about how Hodag performed throughout that whole day. Considering our loss was me not having the correct configuration and me and going against the two-time MRCA champ. And so I feel really good about where Hodag's at, while at the same time I think we did learn about some things we need to change. Like, we do have things that we can improve. Specifically, when I reprint the sides, since I obviously need to print new ones, I'm going to print these basically at 100% infill. I think that's going to be one thing we do. I think that's obvious, 100% infill. That'll help a lot against horizontals, especially because we've had similar things happen against like Melon Baller at NHL, Grand Slam, obviously getting that stuff. What else? Oh, we need to change I think I'm going to change the depth of the hole in the back so that there's less wiggle room for the linear shaft. That way it's a little bit tighter tolerance, can't move too much. This UHMW part took a bunch of damage, so I'm going to make some slight tweaks to that in the future to hopefully, so this the spacer that goes here and that is currently no longer here because it took so much damage, make some changes so that what am I trying to say? So that doesn't break off as easily. As you guys who watch the stream already know, I'm working on a regular vert configuration. Since I did the weight calculations, I guess I didn't mention that in that stream, but I did the weight calculations, and it's going to have to be a configuration of Hodag to meet MRCA rules. It won't be able to be its own new robot because the weapon is like less than a pound of Hodag. And if it's a new configuration of Hodag, I think what it'll end up being is essentially like a fail-safe if this weapon mechanism takes too much damage. Overall, I don't think we have too many drastic changes. I do have a lot of repairs to still make. As you saw, I haven't torn it down since that event. I've been working on Bloop, the shuffler that you might be able to see in the back. I actually dropped Hodag from RSL November or RSL February because I wanted more time to get it back into fighting shape. So I'm going to bring Bigfoot and Bloop, which I've been working on. I almost have one copy of the shuffler working, and it does shuffle. And we're just the problem I'm running into with the shuffler is that the weapon keeps hitting the ground, and so I'm trying to get Bloop's weapon not hit the ground. I have maybe Bigfoot. The thing is, I feel like Bigfoot's changed so much. I'm not sure what the kit version would end up being, but maybe that will be the next thing when I run out of stream ideas. When I run out of stream ideas, I'll start kitifying Bigfoot. There might be you say like talk about Bigfoot kit. There could be what's kind of funny is Bigfoot didn't even do that well at the event. So, but I think a Bigfoot kit, a reason for a Bigfoot kit to exist is I think people might like the idea of a kit bot that uses tangent drive, maybe a tangent drive kit. That could be the selling point because who else has tangent drive kits? And then but yeah, it'll be like the only tangent drive kit. But that's definitely not the current priority, but we'll see. Well, without the necessary evil kit, there's a gap in the market. I could call it the unneeded good. Instead of the necessary evil, it's the trying to think unneeded good, or what's the opposite? I'm trying to think of the opposite of necessary without saying just unnecessary. Unnecessary good. But yeah, I did put in a reservation for Hodag to go compete at NHL in April. So that is the current plan. My next event is going to be RSL February, like I mentioned, where I'll be bringing the Bloop as a plastic ant. But it's going to be called I'm a Spooky Sea Monster because I like to have a different name for the plant and a different name for the ant version. So it's going to be called I'm a Spooky Sea Monster, but the full combat ant version of it is going to be Bloop. And that's going to be fighting at RSL February with Bigfoot. Currently, right now, my plans for changes to Bigfoot, I think I'm just going to maintain Bigfoot for now. And I'm just making sure things working and I don't think I need design changes to Bigfoot. It's all just like in the execution. Like it's all the small things on Bigfoot. So Bigfoot's going to be the robot. Bigfoot essentially is going to be my filler robot. Because I like bringing two robots to the event. Bigfoot is going to be the other robot, essentially. It's going to be my second robot I bring. Also because it took almost no damage at that last event. So it's really good for that because it takes very little damage. Victorian Baby Yeet Machine? What robot's called Victorian Baby Yeet Machine? Oh my gosh. Hodag's next event, though, however, is Hodag's next event is actually going to be Harbor City Riot. I was going to try to get into Michigan Mashup, but I forgot that signups were happening and that robot fills up in like half an hour. But we will what's funny about Hodag's next event being Harbor City Riot is that Hodag is going to go to Harbor City Riot, and then April NHL is going to be 2 weeks later. So, for me, having an event right after another is always a double-edged sword. Because obviously, like, if I take a bunch of damage at Harbor City Riot, I'm going to be very sad. So I'm basically going to have to buy spares like I'm buying them for 2 events. But the good part about having the one robot event right after the other is my driving is always best, like when I have an event back to back. Like the closer I have 2 events, like that driving at that second event, I usually do pretty well because my driving is on point. Concept Bot, my other names are way smaller. Conflagration, I feel, is small enough. That is an interesting one. I don't even know what conflagration means. I should know what that means. I went to college. Conflagration. Extensive fire which destroys a great deal of land for property. That is a good name for a robot, actually. I will say. But yeah, that was a crazy event. Yeah, because that was such a brutal event. Another thing that I learned about Hodag at that event is that I think I'm so used to Hodag having to be in like the best condition possible going into each fight. But that was like the first time Hodag was just like beaten and battered going into every fight. Like the one wheel, this wheel was like look at how not straight that wheel is. It was like that for the past it was like that going against Grand Slam, going against Who's Earl. It was for the last 3 fights. That wheel was just like side like this. And it just kept running. It didn't care. Hodag is, I think it's funny, the weapon mechanism on Hodag is not durable at all. But the rest of Hodag is so goddamn durable. I don't get it. I don't think I'm that good. I just keep surviving. The weapon, however, is not super durable, but which is why I want to make a vertical configuration. I forgot to mention, after the Relax a Bit fight, there was a what's the word I'm looking for? Someone forfeited. So that should really help out Hodag's elo going into the next for trying to qualify for finals at the end of the year. That's all I really have for you guys today. Since I'm feeling sick, I realized like my voice and talking for so long, my throat is starting to kill me. So I think I'm going to cut it off there. Luckily, we were able to get through those fights in a timely manner. But that was a really good event. Thanks for tuning in. I think the next video I'm going to put out is going to be on how Hodag did at that event. I think that alone is going to be enough to create a whole video. And I will hopefully see you guys next week, assuming my cold doesn't get worse. Oh, nice. Project BB. Past